Villeneuve is clearly a visual filmmaker. He has shown it in many of his films, but especially in Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. Dune does not escape this trend. In fact, Dune is the film where the visual element is placed at the center of Villeneuve's cinematographic language. A visual spectacle, so we can define the last film of the French-Canadian Denis Villeneuve. Full of symbolisms, there is no frame in which we cannot find an essential detail that complements, and in many cases, tells us what the characters do not explicitly say. On many occasions the dialogues only point in the direction in which Villeneuve wants his audience to direct their attention, and discover things, details hidden in visual cues. Sometimes the suggestion works directly, others, the vast majority, Villeneuve directs the audience's attention to a place for the viewer to find, in the visual game, the elements subtly hidden in the image. This is what happens in the scenes in which the little desert mouse appears. Many wonder, what is the meaning of the little mouse? What is its place in the story? Of course, it's a nod to Herbert's readers, but it's not all obvious. Villeneuve's Dune is a clever game of symbols where not everything is accessible in the dialogues, there are many cues hidden in the images. The kangaroo mouse is one of them. The mouse from the Iraq's desert already appears in the holograms that Paul is seeing in his room at the Atreides residence. And reappears when Paul and Lady Jessica are lost in the desert, after escaping from the Harkonnen. Muad'Dib, in the language of the Fremen. And Muad'Dib is the name Paul adopts when he begins his new life among the Fremen. In Herbert, we find that moment after Paul kills Jamies in the siege. In the film, the fight takes place in the desert, in front of the group of Fremen who accompany Stilgar, in the light of dawn. And Paul doesn't choose his name either, as in Herbert's novel. In the book, Herbert writes, "Now, what name of manhood do you choose for us to call you openly?" Stilgar asked. "How do you call among you the little mouse, the mouse that jumps?" Paul asked, remembering the pop-hop of motion at Tuano Basin. He illustrated with one hand. A chuckle sounded through the troop. "We call that one Muad'Dib," Stilgar said. Is it the only moment where Villeneuve refers to the little creature of the desert? Well, no. The scene between Gurney Halleck and Duke Leto after their arrival in Arrakis has an indirect reference to the little mouse, to Muad'Dib. In the scene, Gurney tells the Duke that the locals call Arrakis' greater moon, the hand of God. And we see it on full display. What Gurney does not say, but is indirectly implied in the scene, is that the small moon that also orbits Arrakis, the locals call it Muad'Dib, in reference to the kangaroo mouse that lives in the desert, because of the silhouette that appears on its surface. And what do you think Villeneuve shows us on screen? Well, the little mouse. In the book, Stilgar says, "I will tell you a thing about your new name," Stilgar said. "The choice pleases us. Muad'Dib is wise in the ways of the desert. Muad'Dib creates his own water. Muad'Dib hides from the sun and travels in the cool night. Muad'Dib is fruitful and multiplies over the land. Muad'Dib we call instructor of boys. That is a powerful base on which to build your life, Paul Muad'Dib. Don't you see it yet? Try harder. Let me darken the image of that particular sequence. And now what do you tell me?" All this led me to watch the film one more time because if Muad'Dib is referenced by Villeneuve, somewhere, without him telling us, so must be an Usul reference. Somehow, somewhere. Usul is Paul's secret name among the Fremen. And I also think I have found it. And I also think I have found it. In a room where everything is rectangular or square, what is an octagonal table doing in the center of the room? I mean, is it a table? Really? Isn't it because it looks too much like the base of an upside-down Greek column? And what does Usul mean in the Fremen language? Herbert writes. A voice from the troop called out, "Needs a naming, still." Stilgar nodded, tugging at his beard. "I see strength in you, like the strength beneath a pillar." Again he paused, then, "You shall be known among us as Usul, the base of the pillar. This is your secret name, your troop name. We of Siege Tabor may use it, but none other may so presume. Usul." And there you have it. The base of the pillar. Usul.